So I'd say it's safe to say that indie animation is looking like the bright future for animation, as the majority of mainstream production companies hate animation or just make shit animated shows or movies. So I figured with this video I'd take a look at some of the animated pilots creators have made and give them a ranking out of 10 for how much I enjoyed it. Plus, I'm gonna preference this ahead of time. If there is a pilot that you liked and I didn't, that's cool. Opinions are all subjective. Just please, if you want to tell me why you enjoyed the pilot, just don't be an ass about it. Okay, cool. Now let's talk about some pretty cool pilots. So, I figure I start with this one since episode 3 just recently dropped. So the pilot, or I guess episode 1 now of the show, is good. The art style is very vibrant and colorful, almost to the point of it kinda hurting my eyes, but then again, my vision has been going to shit. Then we have our colorful cast of characters: Pomni, Caine, Jax, Gangle, Ragatha, Kinger, and Zooble. Pomni is the newcomer to this world and is pretty much the character most like us because we have no idea what is going on. Caine is the ringmaster for this whole circus and world. Jax is a bit of a dickhead, so pretty much an online troll. Gangle is a punching bag for Jax. Ragatha is the one who's always trying to keep everyone's spirits up. Kinger is insane. Zooble is honestly just there. So for a pilot, I can forgive a lot of things, but the pacing in this is painfully fast. It's to the point you have to pay attention at all times, otherwise you're gonna miss an important detail. The other thing is that I feel this show probably could have cut one of the characters from its cast, and for me that was Zooble. Just because of, out of all the characters from the cast, Zooble is the one character that really never got any development and kinda just felt like an unnecessary add-on. Keep in mind this was my opinion before episode 3, but those are my only negatives I have for this pilot. My positives for the pilot are that the jokes are good, and almost every one of them got a laugh out of me. The voice acting is really good, but then again, what do you expect when you get Michael Kobach in here? The psychological horror with Pomni and the exit door and the dread feeling was pretty good at unsettling me. The music for this pilot is super good. I wasn't familiar with Gooseworks before when it came to music, but man, she didn't disappoint, and was not expecting this show to have some of the best composing of music I've heard for one of these new indie animated pilots. I'd say overall I enjoyed this pilot. It definitely left me interested in wanting more of the show, so I'd give it a 7 out of 10. Might as well stay on Glitch since I'm here. So Murder Drones. It's very good. I'm gonna get my one negative out of the way, and that is the dialogue writing. Yeah, the dialogue for me was a bit too hard to get into. I think it was mostly just the way they kept having to over-explain something that is in itself very simple. I just don't think that's my style of dialogue for me, and it definitely took a while for me to get used to it. But other than the dialogue not being my cup of tea, I liked everything else with this. The action, mystery, and the characters are all great. I love En. He's just so likable to the point it's pretty hard not to like him. Uzi is a pretty likable protagonist who can be a little too angsty at times for me, but for the most part she's great. The other murder drones themselves are a really great threat. All I'll say is if you haven't watched Murder Drones yet, please check out this because the pilot for me is a solid 8 out of 10. Well, here it is. I'm finally covering the Helluva Boss pilot that I joked I was never gonna review in my season 1 ranking, and that a couple people took way too seriously for a one-off joke. But the Helluva Boss pilot is good. I mean, I can't really complain about it just because it got the point across of what the show was going to be like, and the jokes are great. They still make me laugh.
Oh, what can I do you for this time, Stolas?
I'm over here stroking my dick. I got lotion on my dick right now.
I think the pilot is just very clear cut and to the point, pretty much to where I can't find anything wrong with it. So 8 out of 10. The pilot that kickstarted this whole indie animation kick on YouTube. Let's get the one complaint I have out of the way. The pacing is too fast for me, but not to the level of Amazing Digital Circus where you can get whiplash from how fast paced it was. Now with the one complaint out of the way, here are my positives. The characters are very memorable. The music is great, and I'll just say it, when Charlie sang a more somber version of I'm Always Chasing Rainbows accompanied with those honestly haunting visuals that accompanied the song, it was very chilling. As someone who's seen the full show on Amazon, it is something I wish I could have seen more with the actual show. Also, for this being the one pilot that kicked off this whole indie animation renaissance, the animation in this pilot looks goddamn amazing. I'm gonna give this pilot a 7 out of 10. It's good, but nowhere near my favorites of pilots I've seen. This is one of my favorite pilots that's been made because I'm gonna be honest, I'm a sucker when it comes to shows based in the 20s. It's one of the reasons Chicago is one of my favorite musicals. Also, I just find the Prohibition era interesting, which sounds weird, but I just like learning about the gangster activity and bootlegging people did. Now for the actual pilot itself, I really don't have any complaints. I think my only major one is probably some spots tended to go on longer than they needed to, but that's my only complaint. But my positives for the show is the animation, because holy shit, in my honest opinion, this is the best looking pilot I'm gonna talk about this video. I also like how you can see the animation lines of the characters, which I'm not sure if it was intentional, but I thought it looked cool. The action sequences in this look phenomenal. The shooting scenes are definitely the highlights of the action sequences for me. Then you got the intriguing mystery surrounding the speakeasy of Lackadaisy. I would say that this is a solid 9 out of 10, bordering on a 10 out of 10 for me. So this is the newest pilot that dropped by creator LS Mark, who I've been a fan of for years. Plus, I also did some fan art for the pilot characters that the official page reposted and liked, which was honestly really cool. And look, even though I'm a fan of him, I'm not gonna sugarcoat any of my negatives I have about the pilot, which here are my negatives. The pacing felt like it was really dragged out with certain scenes, like with Clay being in the house with his mom, for example. Another one was the surprise swears, which I know I'm pretty swear heavy, but that doesn't mean I can't think swears should be timed right and feel like they have actual build up to them rather than feeling like they're completely forced. And also, I watched his making of the pilot video. He said it's because it's based on teen experience, but the vibe I got from the show was that it was more geared towards kids and not a young adult audience. But those are really my only complaints. My positives are this. I love the use of mixed media. Whenever they switched to PNG models, that made me laugh way harder than it should have. The characters are pretty enjoyable for the most part. Rob got a little annoying at points, but other than those few moments, I still like the characters. I appreciate the story it told about the teen experience. Even though I'm an American who is barely on the qualifications of a teenager nowadays, and not from the UK area, I still could relate to the scenarios they portrayed. I'd give this pilot a 7 out of 10. I think that's all the pilots I'm gonna cover this video. But I know there are plenty more pilots I didn't cover that I'll do in a sequel video. So yes, there will be a part 2. So if you want to drop a pilot suggestion for part 2, feel free to do that. But I hope you've enjoyed. Take care and peace.